Dolly Parton. Dolly? Well, I'm proud of you.
There, Riley. Hello out there.
I have,
Thank you.
it's now a great pleasure for me to present the AAP Honors Medal to Dolly Parton and the AAP check for $5,000 to your foundation for books for these youngsters that love them and need them. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate this, and you said a lot of nice, wonderful things. So I'm going to lay this here for now, and I think I'll probably step over here where my little speech is. How's everybody doing today? Well, I didn't know how to dress for a special luncheon. How do you like what I got? I don't envy you men, I tell you. It took me 3 hours to get this tie on. Still don't know if it's straight. I wanted to look like a businesswoman, but I didn't want to look like a bull dyke. I don't, do I? I hope not. I just hope Barney Frank ain't in here. He'd kill me for this outfit, wouldn't he? Anyway, I just wanted to say how happy I am to be part of this. In fact, Pat Schroeder, I was here in D.C. and I was talking to her, and I said, well, what is the difference in a politician and a publisher? She said, well, a politician will listen to your problems and try to solve them, and a publisher will listen to your problems and try to make a book deal. Is that true? I thought that was sort of true. Of course, I really wanted to thank Secretary Riley for the nice introduction. He's a nice man. As a matter of fact, you don't mind if I wear my glasses, do you? I'm getting that age now. Anyway, as a matter of fact, when I was talking to him, I realized that he was backstage. He was just patting on me and hugging on me, and, it was real sweet, and, and I like that. And, of course, well, I did. I'm married, but I ain't dead. So, anyway, he was back there patting on me, and I realized that several years ago, back at Carson Newman, a lot of you folks know that I barely graduated from high school, much less go to college, so they gave me a doctorate degree from Carson Newman College, and I was very, very honored with that, and I realized that Secretary Riley was a friend of the guy that gave me that back there. I think, what was his name? Maddox? I think his name was Maddox. Anyway, I remember back when he was doing that, he kept patting and hugging on me. And then I realized that they were in college together. And I just thought, well, it's a good thing that neither one of them are running for office, or I might have to tell what they said to me backstage. I'm not running for office either, but Secretary Riley was definitely checking out my platform. Just kidding. Anyway. But in all seriousness, when I told my folks, when I do these special kind of things, my parents are really proud of me. And I told them, I said, well, I'm coming up to D.C. and I'm going to be making a speech, and I'm going to be introduced by this very intelligent, very educated man, Richard Riley. I said, he's Secretary of Education. And my daddy said, well, hell, if he's got that much education, why is he still a secretary? He ought to be the boss by now. So I thought, well, I can't explain that. Also, when I was told that I was going to be accepting an award and speaking to the AAP, I thought AAP was a 12-step program for publishers. And it might be, for all I know. But actually, the first thing I did think was, when I was asked to speak, I thought, well, Oprah must be busy. Oprah's done more for books than Bob Dole has done for Viagra. That was my thought. Anyway, seriously, though, I did write out some things, and I have a tendency to wander, so Ted Miller from the Dollywood Foundation and David Dodson asked me to kind of stick to the script so I'd be sure and cover all the ground, but I can't keep from throwing in my little stuff now and then. But all the things that I ever dreamed of, I never believed that I'd be in front of a distinguished group of people like you accepting an award like this. And it's a long way, truly, from the Smoky Mountains to what I call the top of the world. And being able to be in the presence of great people like this for a very worthy cause, like the education program that we have back in Sevier County, means a great deal to me. Growing up in the Smoky Mountains was tough. I'm sure you heard Riley talking about it, but I'm not complaining. God gave me some special gift that both got me through it and inspired me to remember it fondly, and that's not necessarily true with a lot of my family and friends. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons that I decided to get involved with the education and with the kids was because a lot of my family were not able to read and write. In fact, my dad never was able to read and write. My folks got married when my mom was 15 and Daddy was 17. They had 12 kids by the time my dad was 37 and Mom was 35. So you can imagine how hard that was. And that was true of a lot of the folks back in the Smokies. People had to go to work in the fields and to raise their family. And in fact, I used to kid my dad, or he used to kid me. I used to say, well, Daddy, they told me when I'd get a bad report card, I said, I would just forward your name. He said, well, hell, how hard can that be? How many ways can you make an X? But anyway, my daddy, even though he didn't get an education and wasn't able to read and write, he still happens to be one of the smartest people I know. And I've often wondered what all my dad might have done if he'd had a chance to have gotten an education. But that's true with a whole lot of my folks back there. And like I say, a lot of folks ask me about my family, and they like to hear me talk about my growing-up days. And people ask me if we were Catholic, because we had so many kids. I said, no, just horny holy rollers. And but I don't mean that with any disrespect. I don't. My folks loved each other, and they loved us. In fact, we kept our mother on a pedestal. We had to. It's the only way we could keep Daddy away from her. But a book was a very special thing back then. In fact, there were very few books that survived in our house with all the kids. They'd either tear them up or chew them up, or they'd get rolled up into a roll-your-own cigarette, or they'd go to the outhouse. So homework to us was milking 2 or 3 cows, slopping 3 or 4 hogs, gathering eggs, washing dishes, and bringing in the milk. So we didn't get a chance to really have the education we needed either, but I did love books. So every chance I got, I'd stay after school or whatever to read or whatever that I had to do to find out what was going on in the rest of the world. And books were not a top priority in our house, with the exception of the Bible that my mama used to read to all us kids. And I loved all the stories that Mama used to read. And I believe those memories may well have both given me spiritual strength, but also taught me the value of parents reading to their children. I know if I had kids, I'd have read to them. God didn't let me have kids because I believe he kind of wanted all kids to be mine in some special way. And my husband of 35 years and I raised about 5 of my younger brothers and sisters, so those kids always seem like our own kids, and now my nieces and nephews feel like our grandkids, but we tried very hard to help them try to get an education and work with them as best we could. Anyway, many of you probably know that I wrote a song years ago based on a story that my mom read out of the Bible. It's a little song called Coat of Many Colors, and it talked about the fact that you don't have to have money to be rich. In fact, the chorus of it goes like, in my coat of many colors that my mama made for me, was made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. And although we had no money, I was rich as I could be, in my coat of many colors that mama made for me. And it was all a story about a coat that Mom, oh, you don't have to do that. I didn't. But anyway, it was the story that Mama told me from the Bible, because we didn't have any money. We didn't have anything that money could buy. But Mama had a great attitude, and she used to talk to us about that you don't have to have money to be rich. The same theory of a person can make money, but money cannot make a person. So this little story she told me at a time when I actually had needed a coat to wear to school, and it was down in the fall of the year, and people used to send us, because Mama had so many kids, she used to make all the quilts for our bed and used to sew clothes for us, hand-me-downs, or anything that she could get her hands on, she'd make something out of it. She could cook anything and make it taste good, and sew anything and make it look pretty good. So she had made me this little coat to wear to school, and she told me the story about Joseph, and so I was so proud of that little ragged coat. It was made out of all these different colored corduroy scraps because there were not enough scraps to make a solid coat, and of course, Mama made everything sound so good, I couldn't wait to wear that little coat to school because I just knew I looked exactly like Joseph, and I was so proud. But I got to school, and the kids all laughed at me, and it broke my heart. It really did, and I was really upset about that, and I was embarrassed. And I was kind of mad at Mama because I felt like she'd kind of lied to me or kind of set me up somehow. And I went home and I told her, that they'd laughed at me. And, she said, well, we're not poor. I'm telling you, you just look around you. It's like we got love and we got kindness and we got understanding. And there's a lot of people in worse shape than we are. So she made me feel good about that. And, of course, years later, I wrote a song, that little song called Coat of Many Colors, and of course I had been so hurt, I'd carried that hurt around for so long, and then when that song became a hit, that hurt left me. It's amazing how healing money can be. You suppose I could have a glass of water or something from somewhere? Okay. My mouth's getting dry, and I just getting started good. I'll get it later. But anyway, the point I was making about the little coat of many colors. Well, of course, now, after that song became a hit, I had told my mom that I said, well, Mama, you get your pocketbook. After I got my first royalty check, I said, you get your pocketbook. I'm taking you to Knoxville, Tennessee, which was the nearest big town. I said, I'm going to buy you a mink coat. She said, a mink coat? Where in the world am I going to wear a mink coat? To a rooster fight? She said, you just give me that money. She said, I can buy a lot of stuff for that kind, and that's the kind of mother that I had. And, of course, a few years back, The Coat of Many Colors was illustrated and put out by HarperCollins as a children's book, and I'm sure most of you remember that. So I was really very, very proud of that. So after I wrote the song, I decided to have it illustrated. See, I wrote that right there as a children's book because I'd hoped it might inspire kids who are made fun of by other kids. As y'all know, it's not always about clothes. Sometimes it's about your size, it's about your color, or just being different. You probably noticed, as I pointed out, that I'm still a little different. Dress and look a little different, but I don't mind because I kind of like that. I like to wear all these wigs and all these fingernails. And these, well, I bought these when I wrote Jolene. But that's another story altogether. But surgery can be kind of uplifting if you're going to keep them up. They keep a little upkeep. But anyway, I'm sure you read all about that stuff in the National Enquirer. I'm pretty popular in the National Enquirer. I think I take up more room in there than a sumo wrestler in a hot tub. But anyway, to receive an honor or award because you've done something that you love or are passionate about is truly personal to me, but I sure didn't start the Imagination Library to get awards. I didn't realize there were rewards for books. I just thought you got grades, you graduated. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the Imagination Library. I think Secretary Riley mentioned it. The Imagination Library is a program we started in my hometown, Sevier County, Tennessee, and we give a book a month to every child from the day they're born till they start to kindergarten. It's about 60 books with a bookcase that's a little engine and a little caboose, and the first book they get is The Little Engine That Could, which I think is just perfect for that. Oh, I'm getting my pages mixed up. Okay. And we mail the books directly to the child so that they feel it's theirs. I didn't say I was organized. I sing better than I speak, hopefully. And we mail the book directly to the child so they feel like it's theirs. In fact, they often wait at the mailbox, which I thought this was cute. We have a lot of parents that send us mail saying that most of the kids think that I bring these books personally myself. And sometimes they wait and look for me. Sometimes they leave me gifts in the mailbox, sort of like Santa Claus, which I think that's cute. But they do go, and it gives them a great chance to get a gift that has their little name on it. So I think that's very inspiring. So we hope to help as many communities as we can to find a sponsor that we can work with and replicate the program. And we've just started, and we have a lot of people getting interested in it. In fact, we have a bank in Pratt, Kansas, and we have an individual in Georgia, and we'll work with civic groups, corporations, politicians, or anybody else that's willing to help us out with that. In fact, if you want more information, my folks are right over here from the Dollywood Foundation. You may have some stuff there, but if not, you can get in touch with them at Dollywood. And of course, David Dodson is head of the Dollywood Foundation, and Ted Miller helps me put all this stuff together so they can get you any more information. And today, I'm very, very happy and excited to announce that I'm donating $7 million to help with the expansion of the Imagination Library all across the country from one of our companies, the Dixie Stampede. It's a dinner theater that caters to family. We have a lot of kids and families that come through there, and we've done so very well with that. We thought that would be a wonderful way to kind of kick this off, so we're very happy about that. And, yeah. That's great. Of course, now we're going to need help. I can't do it all myself because I do have to keep a little money back for me. Because you'd be amazed at how much it costs to make a person look this cheap. I mean, I do require a lot of upkeep, and I ain't getting no younger either. But anyway, so we do need all the help that we can get. And of course, we have Dixie Stampedes. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those, but we do so well. We have one of the Dixie Stampedes where we have all these beautiful horses. We have this great dinner show of a couple of hours where families can come, and we have one in Myrtle Beach and one in Branson, Missouri. We have one in Pigeon Forge, and we have a bunch of others that we're hoping to get started. So that's why we wanted to donate this money in hopes that it would kind of kick this off in fine fashion. Of course, the mission of my Dollywood Foundation is to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to care more. And of course, when we first started the Imagination Library, actually we've been working with the kids in East Tennessee for a long, long time. We still give out, when kids graduate, we give scholarships and do all the work that we can before we actually started this. But when I started this, I wrote a little song or poem, and one of these days I will record it as a song, and I had intended to maybe sing today, but I can't hardly sit down and my clothes are so tight. And I thought, well, I'll just stand up and I'll just partly sing and partly talk. But anyway, this song that I thought was very fitting of what the Imagination Library and just inspiring kids, because we used to work a lot with the high school kids with the dropout rate there several years ago, and we really, really did well keeping kids in school, and we were very proud of the progress till we decided that the best time and the best way to help kids was in the very early years before they really, got all programmed with other stuff and being teenagers, although it's important to do all that. But I think if you can catch a child when it's young and get it programmed and learn to read and love to read and have parents work with them, it would be good. Because I truly believe, and I think I'm an example of the fact that you can come from anywhere and do just about anything you want to if you're willing to work hard enough, and if God is kind enough to give you all the stuff you need to try to make it. Of course, God can give you stuff, but you've got to help him. He's willing to help those willing to help themselves, and I feel very, very fortunate that I've had definitely more guts than talent, I think, but I've been able to do a lot, and it's only fair that I try to give back. So anyway, this was a song I kind of wrote based on my own feelings, but I think it fits. It says, I've chased after rainbows, I've captured one or two, and I've reached for the stars, and I've even held a few. I've walked that lonesome valley, topped the mountains, soared the sky. I've laughed and I've cried, but I have always tried. I've always been a dreamer, and dreams are special things, but dreams are of no value if they're not equipped with wings. So secure yourself for climbing, make ready for the sky. Don't let your chance go by. You'll make it if you try. So try to be the first one up the mountain and the highest flying eagle in the sky. Don't let somebody tell you you can't do it. And if they say that, tell them it's a lie. Just try to think of life as just a journey, and the road gets rough and rocky now and then. try each day to try a little harder. And if you fail, get up and try again. 'Cause nothing is impossible if you can just believe. Don't live your life in shackles when faith can be your key. The winner's one who always keeps determination in his eyes, who's not afraid to fly and not afraid to try. So try to be the first one up the mountain and the highest flying eagle in the sky. Don't let somebody tell you you can't do it. And if they do, then tell them it's a lie. And if you fail at first, just keep on trying. You're not a failure in God's eyes. The path you're taking now can make a difference. It all depends on just how hard you try. So spread your wings and let the magic happen, 'cause you'll never really know unless you try. So anyhow, that's my little part of that. Unless y'all want to sing with me. I keep wanting to just let loose and sing, and I just feel so funny without my guitar. But anyhow, I think Pat Schroeder had something else. It says Pat Schroeder to come up after you sing Try.
I was panicked that I was going to have to sing, so here I come.
Oh, yeah, and Lord knows we don't want you to sing.
Oh, no, you don't. You don't. You want to know? This will be a room clearer. I can clear this room in no time. But I really wanted you to know that the Country Music Association wanted to join with us.
Oh,
and
great.
They're going to add money to this whole thing. So
Well,
we really thank
wonderful.
you for inspiring us. So I'll
that's
turn it
great.
over to Rick.
So I guess Rick's from the Country Music Association.
Yes,
Well, welcome.
Yes, I am. Thank you. And if you think you don't want to hear Pat sing, you really don't want to hear me sing. I'm the way that they clear the house at the end of the night. First of all, I'd like to thank Pat and Candy Lee for making this all possible for us. And in my world, there's a difference between an artist and a superstar. An artist can move into a superstar status. A superstar starts with talent. They have enormous amounts of talent. They are a CEO of their own business, and they build an incredible business over a long period of time. They have charisma, which is really unparalleled to the most charismatic politician that we may see in this city. And they're very humble, as I think you can see here today. More importantly, they really, really touch the heart. They can reach beyond the footlights, beyond the stage, and they can connect with the audience. They can touch the heart and the soul with the music. They can make the audience really feel something, whether it's good, whether it's bad, thinking about something, and sometimes escaping to a different place so they forget about the problems that they've had in their life. And perhaps most importantly, they do remember their roots. They remember where they came from. They remember that it's about giving back, that those are the people that made it there, and that they will use their success to help other people for the rest of their life. I think you will agree with me that Dolly Parton is one of the world's greatest superstars. And so on behalf of the Country Music Association Board of Directors, our staff, and the 6,000 members in 40 countries around the globe, we'd like to recognize you, Dolly, for your commitment to literacy, giving Americans the opportunity to read and write and experience the poetry, emotion, and power of the written word, and present you with a check to the Dollywood Foundation for $5,000.
Wow, that's great. Well, this is wonderful. Of course, you know, every little bit helps, and all this definitely will go to the kids, not me. I'll pay for my own stuff. But anyway, this is quite an honor. What? Oh, you wanted to take it? Oh, I thought you were trying to. You don't get to spend this money personally either. This still goes to the kids. All right. Anyway, of course, that's going to help a lot of kids and anybody else that wants to help. You know, we're not up here begging for money, but I think anything that we can do to help the kids, it'll be great. I also, I think, was that all the main things we had to do? Yeah, that's great. And I just, a lot of people want to know what I'm doing in my own life these days, and hopefully I'll be getting a chance to do more of this kind of stuff, and hopefully I'll be doing some more movies, and I am working on some projects and got a lot of things in motion, so hopefully I'll just keep making more things happen so we can make more money, so we can help more kids. And of course now when several years ago, I wrote a little song called God's Coloring Book. And this particular year, we are open in Dollywood's 15th season. Can you believe that? Dollywood has been open 15 years. On the 15th of April, we open. And we have, in honor of the children this year, we have a new addition called Dreamland Forest. And it's like this huge area, like a big tree house where the kids can go play and do all sorts of things. And I had a song years ago, same as like the Coat of Many Colors, where we also had a coloring book. And this year we were putting together, through the foundation, a little coloring book based on the little song that I'm going to read to you, and maybe I'll even sing this one. But anyhow, every child that comes to the Dollywood opening this year will actually get a free copy of the little coloring book. So anyhow, I just wanted to thank all of you, because after I finish this, I think we're going to take some pictures and do all the other stuff we need to make sure I got these together before I start, because I don't want to screw up any more than I have. I think that's it. Okay. But anyway, this was a little song that many years ago I was just sitting out in a field out on my farm and just thanking God for all the good things that had happened to me, because I'm not a very religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. I truly do believe there is something greater than all of us. In fact, I know there is. There has to be, because I draw from it every day. But I was just looking at all the beautiful things around me, and I thought, wow, this really is like God's coloring book. So this was a little song I wrote. Today as I was walking in the fields just down the way, I sat down on a fallen log to pass the time away. And as I looked around me, the more that I did look, the more I realized that I was viewing God's coloring book. I saw a golden ray of sunlight, a silver drop of dew, a soft white floating cloud sailing across the sky of blue, a yellow dandelion, a pretty evergreen, and some red and orange flowers growing wild along the stream. And the more I look around me, the more that I do look, the more I realize that I am viewing God's coloring book. The grayness in an old man's hair, the pink in baby's cheeks, the blackness in a stormy sky, the brown in fallen leaves, a multicolored rainbow stretched out across the sky, and the purple haze at sunset just before the night. And the more I look around me, the more that I do look, the more I realize that I am viewing God's coloring book. Then I turn my face toward the sky and say a silent prayer. Though God doesn't speak to me, I see Him everywhere. 'Cause He is all around me, He's everywhere I look, and each new day is but a new page in God's coloring book. Each new day is but a new page in God's coloring book. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Dolly for president. I love it. No, you are just wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Woo! Thank you, Dolly. It was just terrific. Thank you. I just have several announcements. A, you get to eat. B, there were not enough Anderson reports to go around. For those of you who want them, we have a silver bowl. Drop your business card in and they will pick them up. And other than that, how wonderful. Can you think of anybody better for the AAP honors than Dolly Parton? Great, great day. Thank you. Enjoy your meal. And thank you, Secretary Riley.